Let's see. I don't know, it's just. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're calling the meeting to order a few minutes late, trying to get some of our Zoom stuff going. Thank you all for coming. This is the Community Planners Committee meeting. I'm Victoria Labruzzo, the chair. And we have a lot in store tonight. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and ask if there's any modifications to the agenda. I have not done that before. Marlon, does it matter? I got it on the other.
Although the fact that inaction was on that piece, that's okay.
Okay.
It was just info.
Then we'd have to make it, okay. Okay, then moving on. Can I go ahead, let's see, let's go ahead and do the roll call. So, a second here. When I call your name, if you're online, please unmute yourself and please respond with, I'm gonna call your community, please respond with your name. So I have that. It helps us learn each other's names a little bit. Okay, starting with Barrio Logan. Carmel Mountain Ranch. Carmel Valley.
Here, got the name.
Thank you. Encanto.
Fire Valley, Sage, Nicole Holding.
Thank you. City Heights. Claremont. College area.
Robert, Montana.
Del Mar Mesa. Downtown.
Public here.
Eastern area. Greater Golden Hill. Kearney Mesa. Kensington Talmadge.
David Modi.
La Jolla.
Lisa Creedman.
Linda Vista.
Felicity Sinowski for Linda Vista.
Midway. Mira Mesa.
Bo Gibbons for Mira Mesa.
Thank you, Bo. Mission Beach. Mission Valley.
Michelle Addington.
Michelle Navajo. Normal Heights. North Park.
President Lynn Elliott.
Ocean Beach.
Devin Hastings.
Thank you. Okay, Old Town. Otay Mesa.
Alan Kashani.
Alan. Otay Mesa Nestor. Pacific Beach.
Marcella Bothwell here.
Peninsula.
Eric Law.
Rancho Bernardo.
Touchstone.
Rancho Penasquitos.
John Becker.
San Pascual de Cajas. San Ysidro. Scripps Ranch, Victoria Labruzzo. Here. Serra Mesa. Skyline Paradise Hills.
There.
Southeastern.
Here, Jasmine Mallon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sierra Santa. Torrey Hills. Torrey Pines.
Here, Liz Shopes.
University.
Chris Nielsen.
And Uptown. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. And the next thing I have on the agenda is public comment. Public comment is 2 minutes per issue, and it's as long as it's not pertains to what's on the agenda already. So do I have public comment? Yes, sir. And if your public comment, come on up here so we can all see you. That would be great.
This little thingy's the camera, so if you move it a little bit closer, you're good to
Yeah, so
go.
they can hear you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Becerra from Encanto. And I'm here to bring some awareness about what's happening with some of the properties from SDRE. Of course, SDRE is going dark, vertical movement's going dark. And there's 7 houses in our area that are going into foreclosure because they're not paying their taxes. So, this is one of my neighbors here. We have squatters. That are moving into these homes. These homes have been empty for years now. We just heard that Linda Vista has squatters. So what's happening in my community, it's gonna start spreading and going to your guys' communities, anywhere where Christian Spicer has homes. And we all know that Christian Spicer's homes are across the county. So, there's lots in Claremont, that could be vacant. There's some on College that could be vacant. And even the ones that are 90% built, they've stopped all the projects and squatters could move in. And as we know, that can be a very tough. My neighbor here, she's been going through some tough arguments with these people. And last week, my wife's car got broken into. Things that haven't happened in our neighborhood are starting to happen. My other neighbor, he's like, I've always left my generator up in the front, now it's gone. It's not, it's more like what's bringing in the sentiment to the community. I've always left my car, never had to worry, and now my wife's massage table was gone. Yes, things can be replaced, but man, now there's an uncertainty. So we wanna just have everybody be cautious that all of these properties from SDRE, they are potential places for squatters. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Very rarely on mine as well.
Hi.
Hi, do I have a clock?
Yes, she's
I watch
gotcha.
Okay, 1 minute or 2.
2 minutes.
Okay, Doreen Diaz from Hamishaw, and I wanna let you know that last month and every single month that Skyline Paradise Hills, Ride Lakes, Roundneck, they will get a new complaint. Last month's meeting in January was canceled, all future, because there's been a lot of projects in our neighborhood that have been passed without actually complying with a description. So if you saw the agenda, you wouldn't even know. And I have a list and not enough time to talk about them, mainly Black Arts District. So, the other issue is, I don't know if any neighborhoods have been successful with putting in streetlights or stop signs. We've been trying since 2005. We've been waiting for a traffic study from Councilman Foster since September 27th, 2005. I reported 5 deaths. Since I reported those 5 deaths, we just had another death of a community activist. If anyone knows Evelyn Smith, her sister died at the Hamishaw corner of death, which is Eucharist Ave and Imperial Ave. So that's the 6 deaths, and for some reason, we can't get any action on this from the city, even though they've been sued. So I'm hoping they're gonna sue again because they've been talked to at city council and there's so many written memos telling them to do something before another death happened. And unfortunately, we had another tragedy. We did have problems with squatters, same thing as what Eric was saying, so I won't repeat it, at the 1441 Woodrow.
10 seconds.
Okay, having a huge problem with semi trucks. I don't know if anyone's doing that, but you can feel free to email me. We're trying to get another meeting with Cleve. Thank you.
Thank you, Noreen.
Hi, my name is Becky Rapp, and I have been speaking to several of your planning groups, and I appreciate the opportunity. But tonight I wanted to bring this to the full CPC as I felt it was important. It's clear, it has to do with the Land Development Code. Item number 20, clarifying previous language in the code that the marijuana leaf symbol is prohibited when it comes to on-site signage. So meaning that the marijuana leaf image is not permitted on a building or an on-site, on the building on-site.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually part of the agenda tonight, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll have to wait till we
We can go
talk.
through each one?
We'll go through them, but at the time that we're talking about
Okay.
yeah, sorry I didn't catch that sooner, but
Okay.
yeah, definitely we'll talk about and take comments and stuff during the agenda item. Hi,
Hi, my name is Kevin Hastings from Ocean Beach. You guys may be aware that tomorrow at the City Council Rules Committee, they will be evaluating a vacant home tax to apply to homes without primary resident there, or tier 3 and tier 4 only vacation rentals as well. And so that's tomorrow, starts at 9 o'clock. I think there's a Balboa parking item before it, so I have until the afternoon. But if that's something that interests your community, be there.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any other public comment?
I'll take it.
Oh, yes, so we're gonna go online. We'll start with Gary.
Hey, greetings, everyone. I'll just expand on the last speaker because he's basically saying or has a concern where I have a concern. I saw in the news where the mayor wants to tax vacation homes $8,000 a year. I don't own a vacation home in San Diego, but I thought it just sounded punitive. And I was curious if the mayor was going to run that through the CPGs and the CPC first for feedback and insights. It would be my recommendation that the mayor's office do that. It just seems heavy-handed. It almost sounds like eminent domain. It's such a substantive taking financially that it just, instinctively feels like quasi-eminent domain, a taking of property. Anyhow, that's my feedback to expand on the last speaker. I don't know if any of that's going to be on the agenda tonight, but I hope the CPC has an opinion on that similar to mine. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, next we have Liz.
Hello, this is, I'll be quick. Immigrants are part of our community. They live here, they work here, and they have families here. I'm very concerned and unsure how the San Diego Police Department will react if there is a skirmish or a conflict between the community and ICE, if ICE gets more heavy-handed here. I brought this up at our community planning meeting. We have community service police officers, and I was hoping for an answer, and I really didn't get one. I know that they can't interfere with DHS, but what if ICE gets involved with protesters or in neighborhoods? I would like to know ahead of time what the rules are, if there are rules, and what our city council feels about that. Thank you. I've left messages. Okay.
Thank you.
I have
What's that? Okay, Paul?
So, hi, Paul Coogan, Normal Heights Chair. Speaking on behalf of myself for public comment, I received an email today from Council Member Sean Ilo Rivera for District 9, and I wholeheartedly agree with his statement. Another person was killed by Trump's terror squad. Abolish ICE, block their funding, prosecute the murderers. Moreover, the enforcement agents who work for the agencies terrorizing our country should be barred from ever working for the city of San Diego. I agree with this statement, and I believe that our mayor needs to make a statement equally as strong. And I would encourage everyone to call the office, email, send a message, show up at the office, use the public comment period in meetings and subcommittee meetings to push on this issue that we need ICE out of our community. Minnesota is now, California is next. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. All right. Is that it for public comment? If so, yes, Larry.
I just wanted to say thank you, Ms. Victoria, for writing a letter of support for the appeal of radio towers. And I just read it actually just now, so thank you.
Oh,
I appreciate that the CPC is behind us and trying to get a part in our communities. Thank you.
Thanks. I can't take all the credit for that. I had helpers in CPC, so, but and sorry it took longer than we expected it to take.
The city hasn't come back to us yet, so I'm assuming that'll probably be next month.
Okay.
And it is.
Maybe this will remind them. They get it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
Okay.
Y'all know. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. We're going to go ahead then, seeing no other hands, and move on to the approval of the meeting minutes. You sent those out earlier.
I just had a question.
Yes.
On the last item, I don't know if I misunderstood that. Motion failed?
Tabled? Oh, maybe that's just it was there, it needs to be, yeah, it needs to be erased, because we tabled it. So there was no vote on that. Okay, so, okay. All right, do we have any other questions? Do I have a motion?
I have a comment.
Oh, maybe that was, hold on one second, sorry.
The motion to table on the last item.
Oh.
why.
Oh, right, okay. Maybe that's what it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so then there's not a change.
Well, there is, the motion passed.
Oh, to pass, change it to pass.
Yeah.
Pass, okay.
And we
Okay, yes, Liz.
It's just a small thing, but Torrey Pines, I did go to the neighborhoods for all, for us, our neighborhoods for all of us focus groups. If you could add TP to the communities that volunteers.
Under number 6.
Under number, which
Number
was it?
6, number 6, sorry.
There it is. Okay. All right, he's got it. Perfect. Thank you, Liz. Anyone else? Okay, can I have a motion? Yes, Chris,
Yes, I'll move to approve the minutes as modified.
as modified. Thank you. Second? Delmar Mesa. Delmar Mesa, any discussion about it? Okay, let's go ahead and take a vote on approving the motion. So when I call your community, just like roll call, except you can just say yes or no, or abstain. Okay, Barrio, oh, no, let's go. Carmel Valley,
Yes.
Encanto.
Yes.
College area,
Yes.
downtown,
Yes.
Kearney Mesa. Where Jeff goes, he online? Kearney Mesa, did he disappear? I haven't checked, do I have the wrong one checked? Maybe I checked the wrong thing. Do you have it? Oh, I checked the wrong one, okay. Kensington Talmadge,
Yes.
La Jolla,
Yes.
Linda Vista,
Yes.
Mira Mesa,
Yes.
Mission Valley,
I have to abstain. I was absent.
thank you. Okay, Normal Heights,
Approved.
North Park,
Approve.
Ocean Beach,
Abstain.
because wasn't here, okay.
Understood.
Okay. Otay Mesa,
I'm abstaining. I was on there.
okay. Pacific Beach,
Approve.
Peninsula,
Yes.
Rancho Bernardo,
Yes.
Rancho Penasquitos,
Yes.
Scripps Ranch, yes. Skyline Paradise Hills. Do you approve the minutes, Guy? Guy? You can't,
Repeat that. Minutes.
the minutes, yes?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes. Thank you.
Fine.
Southeastern. Jasmine, she online?
Yes, sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you. Torrey Pines,
Yes.
University.
Yes.
All right, that motion passes to approve the minutes. Thank you very much. Okay, we are now going to move into our favorite part, right? 2025 Land Development Code update, and we have Megan from the city to give us some updates. The subcommittee that was led by Chair Nielsen here had multiple meetings.
Yes.
And thank you to the subcommittee members that all participated in that. And so they came up with a lot of questions, and Megan and Courtney have been great about getting back to us. And so now we're gonna let them take it away with some of the questions we had. And let me put up, I guess we need to switch. You have it? Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, do I? This is where we need to do. This is where we gotta get better, figure this out. Well, because the online users have to look at the owl, right?
Yeah.
What's right here?
Send me the presentation and I can play the slides on Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just email ideabuzz@gmail.
Could you post those on the website also, Mark, the flyer? And the website? Sure.
No pressure. Looks like, are you wish we could just go like this?
I know, right? Oh.
Almost there, almost there.
Okay.
And we'll let her, as soon as she gets that email close, and we'll let her. And then we start. If it's too late, put it out on your.
Nice kind of.
Oh.
Just as it's- You're getting it all.
Okay, so we'll then do that.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I think Victoria did a wonderful introduction. To reiterate, my name is Megan Carugas. I am with the City Planning Department. I'm a senior planner with the City Planning Department, and with me today is Courtney Pash, principal planner. I wanted to thank everyone for your time, interest, and participation in the Land Development Code update. You all are experts in the San Diego community, and we do value your feedback. In addition, I want to highlight that these proposed amendments may change based on the feedback we receive and are subject to the approval by City Council. What is the Land Development Code? Chapters 11 through 15 of the City of San Diego Municipal Code are known collectively as the LDC. These chapters cover development regulations and zoning for the City of San Diego. The City Planning Department monitors and continually updates these sections of the code to simplify and streamline the permitting processes, assure compliance with state and federal regulations, eliminate unnecessary barriers, redundancies, contradictions, and align the code with the city's climate, equity, or housing goals. The Land Development Code team evaluated roughly 242 submissions from a variety of different groups. These include members of the public, planning groups, industry professionals, and advocacy groups. On November 5th, the City Planning Department released discussion draft lists of proposed amendments with associated draft code language for public review on the Land Development Code project webpage. There are currently 107 citywide amendments and 32 downtown specific amendments, for a total of 139 proposed amendments. Given the number of code amendments and sections involved, this presentation will focus on the most significant amendments. For clarity, each amendment will be referenced by item number consistent with how they appear in the citywide and downtown discussion list. Updates to the code are grouped into 5 categories. First, amendments that align policy with the city's climate equity or housing goals. The second, clarifications along with compliance with state law. The fourth, corrections in the 5th category, regulatory reform. In parentheses, the number of proposed amendments are included in each category. Next, I will highlight several significant citywide items that I believe will be of interest. So before I begin, I would like to point out that the category that the proposed items associated with can be found at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. First, I review the changes proposed to align policy with climate equity or housing goals. Item 3 includes changes to floor area ratio, bonus, and commercial-based zones to encourage more mixed income development by allowing an additional 0.5 floor area ratio bonus for residential mixed-use developments that provide all required deed-restricted affordable homes on site. This amendment only applies in commercial-based zones that are located in mobility zones 2 or 3 within high or highest resource areas. Inclusionary and affordable housing regulations, item 5. This allows off-site affordable housing to be built in sustainable development areas and high and highest resource areas with greater than 5% deed-restricted affordable housing. Currently, the code limits the off-site option to areas with less than 5% deed-restricted housing, which affects such areas such as Black Mountain Ranch, Pacific Highlands Ranch, and Torrey Pines community planning areas, which have 20% inclusionary requirements. Now to complete communities housing solutions for sale dwelling units, item 6. Currently, the complete communities housing solutions only permits rental homes. This amendment allows the development for for sale homes within the program, thus providing additional home ownership opportunities across various income levels. Item 7, the complete communities housing solutions currently allows a development impact fee waiver for homes under 500 square feet. This waiver is proposed to be eliminated, which encourages development of larger family suitable homes and will support the city's ability to collect funds for infrastructure and improvements. Item 9, in order to be consistent with the Mid-City Communities Plan, which calls for medium-high to high-density residential development and commercial uses along transit corridors, the Central Urbanized Plan District needs to be updated. This amendment proposal will prohibit new moving and storage facilities in specific central urbanized commercial zones that include the CE2-3, CE2-4, and CE2-5 zones. These areas are intended to provide pedestrian-friendly, walkable, mixed-use commercial development and prohibit moving and storages in corridors like El Cajon Boulevard that is consistent with the vision of the community plan. Now we move on to our next category of clarification items within the code update. Item 17 clarifies that the California Fire Code may require a fire separation distance for fire safety and emergency access that is greater than the setback in all base zones. Including this language in the code is meant to inform development applicants that things in addition to the required setback may be required. Item 25 aligns the affordable housing, complete communities housing solutions, and dwelling unit protection regulations within government code section 66300.5 by clarifying that equivalent size means that the replacement dwelling units must include at least the same total number of bedrooms as the units being replaced. This does not change other requirements for replacement units. Next, we focus on code amendments that bring the San Diego Municipal Code into compliance with state law. Item 40 allows for ministerial approval of a subdivision of up to 10 dwelling units on lot zoned for multiple dwellings that are 5 acres or less to be compliant with Senate Bill 684. SB 684 establishes a streamlined approval process for such subdivision, exempting them from the California Environmental Quality Act and other requirements. However, the application of this amendment would be excluded in high or very high fire hazard severity zones, wetlands, development with existing deed restricted affordable homes, and rental homes. Item 41, Senate Bill 1123 expands on Senate Bill 684 that I just went over in the previous slide. Senate Bill 1123 allows for streamlined subdivisions in single dwelling unit zones. The same site eligibility restrictions for SB 684 and multifamily zones apply to single dwelling unit zones. However, this bill includes additional location criteria. This includes the site must not be more than 1.5 acres and must be vacant and located adjacent to existing development. In addition to Senate Bill 1123, allows for the creation of a remainder lot and also requires to be sold with a dwelling unit unless they are reserved for open space, common area, or a remainder parcel. Now moving on to the last category, regulatory reform. Item 81, administrative abatement penalties have not been revised since 2007. This amendment proposal increases penalties for causing or maintaining a public nuisance to better reflect current administrative and investigation costs. Item 82, administrative civil penalties for code violations have not been updated since 2017. This amendment proposal raises administrative civil penalties for code violations to better reflect current enforcement costs and serve as a stronger deterrent against non-compliance. Item 91, this item amends the building transitions between higher intensity zones that abut lower density residential zones or open space zones, reducing potential bulk and scale impacts. It requires new development to meet an angled transition plane measured from any shared property line with lower density residential zones or open space zones. In addition, developments adjacent to freeways must provide a landscape buffer and orient outdoor areas away from the freeway. Item 93, this item allows childcare centers in the Marine Corps Air Station Miramar Airport Influence Area Transition Zone as a limited use and establishes a mixed floor area ratio of 0.42 for the use, which is consistent with other small assembly uses. It also removes the expansion limit for child care centers under previously conforming regulations that no longer apply as a result of this amendment. Because the MCS Miramar Airport Land Use Compatibility Plan prohibits child care centers in the transition zone, adopting this item would require City Council override of the Airport Land Use Commission as provided for under state law. Item 94, wireless communication facilities regulation streamlines the review process by reducing the process level for specific applications, allowing timely approval and avoid requiring planning commission approval while maintaining a discretionary process with appeal rights for the applicants and the public. Item 95, this item aligns development impact fees for ADUs with state law. This exempts only ADUs under 750 square feet. This amendment proposal also removes outdated language about scaling fees since the citywide DIF structure already adjusts fees based on ADU size. Additionally, if there are more than 2 ADUs on a lot, the first 2 will continue to be exempt, with it applying to the 2 smallest ADUs. Now we get into the timeline of the 2025 LDC update. We concluded our workshops this month. We had 2 virtual workshops about 2 weeks ago, one on Tuesday, January 13th, and a second on January 15th on a Thursday. We did miss that. We are planning to post the recordings and the PowerPoint on the project webpage, and both workshops were identical to each other, so the same information was presented at both workshops. We are planning commission in February, and then land use and housing committee sometime in Q1, and then ending with city council in Q2, about Q2 of this year. And then one more slide. If you have not done so already, please sign up for the 2025 LDC update subscriber list located on the project webpage and watch for upcoming notifications that will have additional details on how to participate in the upcoming public hearing process. On the project webpage, you can also find the draft language and amendments. This concludes today's PowerPoint. Again, thank you for your time, participation, and valuable feedback as we work through the LDC update. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Appreciate that. All right. Okay, since this is pretty complicated in how we're going to be discussing this, the land use, the code update subcommittee, which was chaired by Chris, I'm going to turn it over to Chris. Chris and David and the committee worked on hopefully a streamline to get through some of these. So I think what we're going to do is first talk about some of the questions we have and direct towards Megan. And then after we get through this, then we'll open it up to the table for other questions from other CPGs. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris.
Okay, so the CPC LDC update subcommittee held about 10 meetings in total between, say, the release of the language in December and last week when we shut it down to be able to send out the information to all the CPC chairs and alternates so that everybody would have sufficient time to go through 107 items, or at least the form we put it in, and we wouldn't get feedback immediately of, well, we didn't have enough time to go through this. So we did provide about 8 days in advance of this meeting, and we think that was enough to have fulfilled that part of our obligation. We spent many hours going through each of the items carefully. And we had a series of questions for the city. We'll drag those up. See, do we have those on the screen anywhere?
I just emailed over, do you want me to do it with our notes page?
Okay, we have a PDF. Yeah, at least for the time being.
You want that, the one you've got up on your screen or the other one? Because I don't know if I gave them the other one.
Okay, you have that one, right? So let's go ahead and put that
Put
one.
that one up.
That one up. And Marlon,
Oh, Marlon,
you have the same
yes.
thing. Oh,
Oh, that one.
All right.
Do you have it? Otherwise I can just, let's see if it connects.
Victoria, can I ask, was the presentation sent out or that we just?
No, we didn't have that presentation,
We can provide.
but they can give it to us, yeah.
right. Yeah, the idea was that to make sure that you got the subcommittees that distilled opinion on the LDC update. Okay. Anyway, so we ended up making a list of a list for us on various categories of update items. And, you know, the city divided theirs into things like state regulations and things like that. We divided ours up into more kind of practical categories. So we picked airport, complete communities, housing solutions, affordable housing regulations, parking, ADUs, fees, signage, the commercial base zone, and some geographic items that were specific to a particular location like Old Town or one of the ones you see up there. And then a whole bunch fell into sort of the no categories. But this allowed us to distill our analysis and things we thought might be the most important to the membership here, because these are items that have caused a fair amount of discussion in the past. So that's how we did it. We have come up with a list in the matrix that you see there of each item, whether we were not opposed to the language that's in there. Some items need to be re-reviewed. At this point, I believe, David, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but all the ones that are marked for re-review are still in re-review mode.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so those items will have to be deferred to a small item on the February agenda.
Except for maybe number 90. I'll have to see when we get there.
Okay, let me quickly go ahead because I'm not up on the screen.
Okay, we had questions, but we were not opposed. Okay.
Right.
And then I did my review and we didn't have any questions left for staff.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, that's kind of how we categorize things. We just grab this here. Okay. All right, so I think what we want to do is, should we go through the items we didn't oppose if modified or if amended?
Yeah, I think,
First, or what?
The not opposed ones, unless someone from here raises an issue, I think in the interest of time, we could leave those aside.
yeah, I think, what we should do, I think we should cover CPC, the subcommittee's full analysis. And also remember, if you have things that just apply to your area, your planning area, that's not a CPC issue per se, okay? So if it doesn't affect what they categorized here as, you know,
Right. For
individually
example,
like that, right?
Yeah, for example, we did not express an opinion on the downtown ordinance. And we historically have not done so. And there were a few others in the same vein. It's just that they apply to only a couple of, or they just apply to a single planning group. Okay, yeah, so, the, so we have a, maybe I should ask if there's anybody that has an objection to one of the, not opposed that we've, marked as such.
Yeah, I think, I know Vicky, yeah, go ahead, Vicky.
It's not really an objection, but I wanted to talk about it for a moment. Number one, the city is allowing an infinite number of costs for a violation. It's and it's being raised from $1,000 to 10,000 or more. And I think that the code needs to clarify when those excessive amounts are going to be imposed so that it doesn't become some kind of political issue. It just seems like a major change. On number 11, a public notice should be required whenever there's going to be a noise impact. And I wanted to verify that that particular change does not affect the requirements for no construction at night for developments. Rancho Bernardo's been impacted by that already, even though it's not in the code and it shouldn't be a part of this.
Okay, I believe that number 11 does not apply to construction.
Right, and that, I just wanted to verify that that was
And
the case.
I think, you have, Courtney has already given us. Yeah, we did ask that question.
But thank you, that's
Courtney has
great.
told us that it does not apply to construction.
That's great. And there still should be a public notice for the other types of noise events to the residents that would be affected.
Okay.
Right, and this might be the time where I want to discuss a not opposed one, because there's a little backstory there. It's for number 9, it's part of the presentation about self-storage facilities. So a few years ago, someone got it in their head that the roadblock to new housing construction in the mid-city area was the requirement that apartments have assigned to them a bit of off-site storage in the building, maybe for your bicycle or your tools or something. So they removed that in an effort to make housing more affordable. Some smart guy saw that in the code update, realized that no one would have places to store their stuff. So they immediately began constructing self-storage locations along El Cajon Boulevard, 2 identical buildings in 2 different locations. And this is prime multifamily residential housing lots. So, and the law of unintended consequences, it didn't really spur more housing construction, but it did spur a lot of construction of self-storage facilities on prime land rather than the bottom feeder land that self-storage locations usually locate.
Yeah, and I will also say that for number 1, we generally stayed out of kind of micromanaging the fine amounts, of fees and other things like that with one notable exception. So that, because it's not really our job to micromanage the way the city does things.
Right, I guess I like micromanaging when you're getting to fees of 10,000, it seems like there should be some guidance, but
Yeah, but
that's
that's a decision that will have to be carried out.
right. And then 102 was the last one, I'm sorry, that's the VTM reductions, which you're not opposed to. And I just wanted to be on the record that Rancho Bernardo opposes that because our transit priority area, if someone lives in that area on the other side of the freeway, it will take them an hour. It's 1 mile to 1.5 miles to walk. And so if there have to be ways to fix that issue for people that are going to live there, then we wouldn't agree that that you could take the VTM reduction requirements and move them to another community because we need them in our community if they're going to increase housing as part of our plan update.
And I'll add to that too, Scripps Ranch opposed for the very same reasons. Yeah.
Yes, can I get some clarification on number 20, which is not opposed by the
Yes.
by the subcommittee? Are you not opposing symbolism of cannabis leaves, or are you? Or what is the amendment to the land development code state? For item 20?
Yeah, Courtney, do you want to weigh in on number 20? Oh,
Or
maybe, sorry, you don't want to take your thunder away.
So what is the question?
The question, Felicity,
So I just would like some clarification on what the amendment is under number 20, and I noticed that the committee does not oppose it, so I just would like some clarification on what it is.
Okay, so good question. So this amendment to the sign regulations is that there are times in the city where cannabis outlets are including the marijuana symbol plant in their signage. So now this amendment would prohibit from using that symbol within their signage moving forward.
Okay, thank you. And I see that the subcommittee does not oppose that. Thank you.
right, we think that's a generally good idea.
And Becky, that was what you were talking about, right? So
Yeah.
let me give you
Is
the,
it okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so, I think that it's a great idea that the city is clarifying this because yes, Proposition 4 was really clear that there should be no, leaves or images on the building. Now, the concern is, and that's great, and so I would support this. But it also is very contradicting because we have billboards and we have all sorts of bright images, colorful imagery, candy, cartoon characters, you name it, around our city on billboards. Sometimes right across the street from the building, sometimes right in the residential neighborhood, or an affordable housing complex has a billboard right on the corner. So, so it seems a little bit contradicting. If Prop 64 said, this is the law because of, public health, protecting you, we don't want to put imagery on the building. Why did the city take it so extreme with off-site advertising? So I guess my point is just to get the language, in line, on-site and off-site, and let's get some stronger regulation for all off-site signage.
okay,
Can I
thank
ask a
you.
clarifying question? Becky, are you suggesting that there should be a geographical restriction to what cannabis outlets can do with their advertisements that are in proximity to their buildings if they can't put it on the building, that perhaps they shouldn't be able to put it across the street?
Right, if it's not permitted on a building for X, Y, and Z, those same reasons should be why it shouldn't be permitted. on a
Okay, I
billboard
understand the
across
broader
street.
concept, but
Uh-huh.
it seems like it's also a bit of a conflict with the amendment that a cannabis outlet could feasibly rent the billboard right across the street from its outlet and circumvent the purpose of this rule.
Correct.
Okay, so offering that to the
amendment.
subcommittee for amendment for a geographical restriction.
Thank you.
Perhaps we should ask Courtney about this. At
Yes,
some point.
or, yes, would you like to respond to number 20?
It's definitely a good point, and I do, I am making note to this, but I think especially for billboards, that's something else that's separated in the sign regulations that we didn't touch on in this one, but that doesn't mean we cannot look into it and see what those offsite and on-site restrictions could look like. But we will definitely look into it. It may not be this LDC, but maybe the next one.
It's for the purpose of avoiding circumvention of the intent of this law.
Okay, yes.
I had a question.
Yes, Jeff.
On this same topic, can somebody park a vehicle in front of this cannabis store with all the images on the side of the vehicle?
Okay, so I think at this point, we're getting definitely a drift here on this, but I don't want to go too far off the actual code, because what we're gonna do here is analyze the code. We can't bring in new stuff. Because
Well, I was headed with the distance. Could we suggest maybe 1,000 feet or 500 feet? Because that's what we're really after.
yeah, we're gonna analyze this actual code update. Those are all good ideas, but that's not part of this. So we're focusing on what the word is in here. And I think it's something we can add later, but to do that. All of these are good ideas, and that's a lot of what code analyzing does. It brings up other ideas or things that might be left out, but unless it really affects this, and Megan said that that's a signage that doesn't have to do with the building necessarily, it's a separate.
Yeah.
So if it's a different category, that's not on here, we can't really put
The
anything on it.
location of the sign is not relevant to this.
No,
No, yeah.
yeah, I think
This one is specifically, you can't put the leaf on the building. So that's it, so.
You can put it on the car.
Yeah, but again, these are things we can suggest for future updates. Okay, but let's try to stick to this, only because we have a lot to do. I don't want to sound, harsh, and we can't talk about stuff, but because of the amount of what we've got, we do want to get through it tonight and be able to vote on it. So,
okay, all right, so, any other comments on non-opposed? If not, we'll go ahead and move on to the,
Excuse me, can I just ask, are you gonna consider 102? Because I did look at the VMT measures in relation to a project last year, and I have to say, this may be more critical for the outlying areas that don't have transit, unlike us in the coast. But it'd be good for us as a group sort of stand up and say, buyouts of VMT can be very bad, because it means you don't get bus shelters. You don't get, all of the things that are required to improve the transit are in those VMT measures, not exclusively. But, and I know we didn't look at this at a subcommittee level, so I'm sorry to bring it up now. But having two outlying communities be concerned, I wonder if it shouldn't be something that the group looks at.
yeah, it's probably multiple communities, and the way I looked at this when we were going through it is it did just affect those that are not near those areas, and so my judgment on it was I didn't analyze how many communities it does affect. So you're right, it is something we could potentially add to this as either a oppose or an amendment, or, but kind of leave that on you, Chris, because I know, I hate to say fun to you, but
yeah,
I know we as a planning group sent that in to you guys.
Yeah.
And so it is, they're aware of it, from at least, Reg Bernardo and Scripps Ranch. I'm not sure if other District 5s that have very little transit nearby it definitely affects us in many ways. So I'm just not sure if it affected enough planning group areas, or if it was something that could be considered. I don't know, that was
well, I suspect when we discussed this, we did not feel strongly about it. But,
yeah. Did you have any outliers like us on it? I wasn't on until the end, but I don't think.
no, I don't believe so.
You didn't have too many of us that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, it's one of these things where it's not clear, exactly where to put your, put your money in the bonanza.
Well, maybe what we can do is have this as one that we can add to this based on these communities. And if anybody else doesn't object to that these communities feel strongly about that VMT being banked somewhere else as a problem.
Well, I don't think banks.
Well, I know it's so wrong.
This is not like a housing.
No, I know. But
where
it's,
we do that, so.
yeah, no, it's the wrong description.
It's a different animal entirely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think this is something that would have to be done with some deliberation in
Okay.
order to have any effect with decision makers down the road. So, that's something that could be proposed for a future LDC update, or we could just oppose it all together. Anyway.
Is there anything in there, and I'm looking at you, Vicky, that talks about it, due to the transit areas that the poor, what is it called when we don't have a lot of transit?
Inadequate.
Transit opportunity areas?
Yeah.
Transit pool.
Transit pool pedestrian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's think on that. I've got it jotted down, so when we come to the end and get a final, we can make a decision.
Okay.
What we want.
Made notes on that as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we can do that.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, so besides this, we're okay on the non-opposed. All right, the next thing we have is CPC does not oppose if modified. So we would be requesting amendments by the city. We think these are These are in some sense pretty simple. So number 38 was a pedestrian path travel parameters, which is that state law does not specify parameters for pedestrian path and travel. And CPC recommends using a bicycle standard already established in the city's street planning manual for equivalent to ensure that objective land and it's a mouthful, but yeah, the idea is we had number 38 in our list. We'll just bring that up here. Yeah. The idea is that shared parking is between a parking lot, which is located away from the actual apartment building. And the question is, how far should you have to walk? I mean, the city is proposing, moving the standard from 1,200 feet away to 2,000 feet away. And but state law requires this, but it doesn't specify how to measure or what kind of path you should have. So we just said, we believe this should be amended to use bicycle standards. So it's good enough for a bicycle, it's good enough for a pedestrian, being that there are no other good standards to use. You can come up with 4% grade this.
We're talking about the steepness, steep slope.
About any of the, how does this actually get enforced, or how does that apply to?
It has to do when the project is reviewed and permitted, I would assume. Because both items have to be specified. That is,
But I mean, in
parking
practicality, how do you
location.
know it's 2,000 feet away parking?
Right. So anyway, the city's proposal is to make that change. We believe they should specify, because state law does not, that bicycle standards ought to be used for the steepness of the path between the two.
Otherwise, walking up 2,000 feet in a 7% grade is pretty arduous to go from 1,200 to 2,000.
Right.
Is there a sidewalk requirement? Like an actual pedestrian path of travels?
I don't think so. Didn't we, didn't we?
No, I believe state law does require at least a sidewalk. They didn't deal with the steepness.
Okay.
And Navajo pointed out several locations where that would be difficult.
Yeah.
So it's just an extension.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was at Navajo's request that we take a look at that. And I think Doreen also had a comment or two having to do with Hamashaw, or one of the adjacent communities in her planning area. So anyway, we thought that this should be amended to do that. Okay, the next item we thought we don't oppose the amendment was this has to do with an incentive waivers report. So if this is number 54 on the list. So its title is affordable housing and density bonus percentages and the affordable housing waivers report. Now, there was a state law passed recently that affects how this is done. We suggest that the city add a form or searchable field for this information on the permit request so that it can be searched simply. That is, rather than a handwritten form or something else that can't just be pulled in mass easily from the city's databases, that this be searchable.
Let me just add to that. One thing is, because it mentions that you can have this waivers report, that if you provide one, then they can quickly find, then they don't have to search for something that can't be found. As I was explaining in committee, it's like every year you have to check to see if the AMT, the alternative minimum tax, applies to you. No, it never does, but you're never sure, and you have to check it every year to make sure it doesn't apply to you. If you've got a box and you find it, then you can fill it out. And also, if it's a searchable field, then you can gather and collect the data that it contains.
Yeah. So we thought that would be useful for people that both work on affordable housing and people that want to search to find what the density bonuses at said establishment consist of. So we recommend that that be put in there. Those were the ones that those were the two items that we listed as does not oppose if modified with suggested amendments. Any comments from the group? I think they're fairly straightforward. Okay, moving on. CPC opposes a set of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. And I'll go through them one at a time. So we oppose items 30, 85, 91, 92, and 93. Our reasoning goes as follows. That for number 85, which is appeals fee. Now I'm going to hold this discussion on this item because everybody's got an opinion. So I didn't realize that was the one it was.
Yeah, don't do that.
So I'm gonna hold that one for discussion later. Okay, and we'll go on to item 91, which is transition plane and buffers from adjacent freeways and other open space, or rather, excuse me, and open space. And the proposed code change would set a transition plane, and that's a line drawn from the first building's edge to up at a certain angle. And the city's proposing 65, we're proposing 45. And it's just to give some scale to the adjacencies, the adjacent uses around these. We suggest that.
And Chris, why don't you point out where you got the suggested number?
Yeah, so when we had our community plan update,
You being University City.
Yeah, when University did its community plan update, we argued for 45-degree transition plane, particularly adjacent to open space, of which we have quite a lot. And there's a lot of edges and abutting residential areas. So what we didn't want to see was a bunch of single-family homes and then giant 100-foot tall things going up so as to shade the adjacent residential residences. So we recommend that the city adopt a 45-degree angle rather than 65. We did not win that one. It's in our special development regulations, but we repropose it as useful for keeping adjacent development effect on adjacent residences to a minimum. Okay. Items 92 and 93. These are effective building in the transition zone adjacent to Miramar Marine Corps Air Station. The airport adjacency is arranged so that there's a zone 1, which is right adjacent to the base. There's a zone 2, which is a little bit further away. The noise is less. Basically, you can't do anything in zones 1 and zones 2, except for regular single-story buildings, and you can see them along Miramar Boulevard. They're auto shops and stuff like that. It's a perfectly fine low-density use for those areas, but for anything with higher density, like housing, they aren't allowed. They're not permitted under code nor proposed. However, the transition zone, which is an additional buffer adopted by the city when it did these, I forget when, but it's been there next to the airport for quite a while. Developers have proposed development that includes housing in some areas of the, that overlap the transition zone. This is where it's not quite as noisy, but still pretty noisy, and the accident potential is still there. But it's reduced. The proposal is that the current code allows for up to 60 DU an acre in the transition zone. And the proposed amendment would allow would eliminate the site development permit required currently to go to 60. And there are valid reasons for permitting housing up to 60 DU in these areas, so we don't deny that. But we do think they should be considered case by case, which is what a site development permit does. And so for both for item number 92, we recommend that the city retain the site development permit requirement for housing in or partially in the transition zone. And similarly with childcare facilities in the transition zone, that's currently not a permitted use. The city would like to have that be ministerial. We still think that should be a site development permit required due to the accident potential zone. But we don't recommend that it be disallowed, because we do think that childcare should go with housing. So we are going to permit housing, which is allowed with site development, but should also allow childcare facilities.
And I think Megan, she just pointed out that for this to actually go through, that city council has to do like an override.
The overrule, yeah, with the.
Yeah. Yeah, we do understand that. And it may be simpler for the city just to continue to require.
Right.
Is to require a site development permit and also require childcare with an STP. And that would kind of make everybody happy, but, okay. So those are the items that we oppose, but there are solutions if the city wants to take. Okay. And then there are a set of, anybody have any comments on this? Yes.
I was gonna add something, at the opening of this, you mentioned, there was a specific mention of the high-risk fire hazard areas, which take up a really significant amount in the newly just approved map of San Diego. How does that go across these high-density areas with the potential of significant evacuations and things like that, and the childcare? Everything, how does that single thing?
I don't think that's directly addressed in any of the amendments, except that this update does include language that requires the updated fire standards, statewide fire standards. Am I getting that right, Corey? Sorry. Courtney, for very high and high severity fire zones. The code is being brought into compliance with state code on this.
Are you referring to the map, like the fire map?
Actually, I think, isn't it that city council voted on it,
Yeah.
on the very high severity fire zone legislation? And then they're adopting the state, but then they're adding their own, like, we need to be in compliance by 2027, earlier than the state's requiring. But that wouldn't affect this, this is 2025, so it wouldn't be, isn't this a future code to implement the things that the state is bringing into? Or is it immediate?
I'm not familiar with the specific code of the state, but my assumption is that, if it's in effect, we would have to follow it. But if it's approaching to be in effect, then we have time to prepare to apply it or bring it up in a future LDC update.
Right.
That stuff's not in this
No.
2025 land development.
It's
Right, so so the bottom line is that, since there's not specific language on that, other than, making some code revisions to include it, that we did not address it as a separate issue because it's not. Yeah.
I mean, the city itself identified through the fire department and then approved it through the city council. Along, 75% of the city of San Diego falls under that category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the effect on all kinds of things, including the application of the new building code for this year and then the existing properties starting at 27. That's a big thing when you're talking about rules for new construction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you start putting in extremely high density, that was the basis for that, for introducing that in the first place, 6 or 10 months ago, whatever it was. Was that hoping to preclude an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
So if anybody has participated in the evacuations that got so bad.
Okay, I'm good. We're gonna need to get back to, just because we don't have a lot of time, we gotta go focus right back on here. Yeah.
I'll offer to follow up on very high fire hazard zones.
Thank you, Paul.
You and I can talk. I'll give you my card.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Paul's kind of the urban quality expert at this. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay.
Okay.
So, all right, seeing no other discussion on those items. CPC does oppose a certain number of state things that are mandated by the state. And in our opinion, the code carries out the mandate of the state. It's just that we don't like it. And we don't want to be on record as being unopposed to it. So items 36, 37, 40, 41, and 58. And while we do recognize it's part of the things that are mandated by state law, we don't want to be on record as supporting it in any particular way. So we oppose it. And then,
Can I have one example of that? Where are you going with this?
Okay.
For example, number 36, environmental appeals.
Right.
So the change is to a city ordinance in order to be in compliance with a state law.
Right.
And as a professional community group, community group, we're saying that the city ought not to change its documents, its regulations in order to comply with state law.
I would say that's not what we're saying.
Okay, well, that's what I heard, so.
I think we're saying is that the state shouldn't have passed this law to begin with.
But this is a process brought by the city to make its rules in conformance with state law.
Right.
I think we're looking at this as just putting a note. We're not going to have and this is the language where we can talk, this is what we're meeting for today, is to figure out the language of what we want to say here. But I think the main thing we're letting, it's really just a note from the CPC that these state mandates that are coming down, we recognize the city doesn't have a choice, that this is something we have to.
But we're lodging an objection.
But we're lodging an objection.
The city is a charter city,
Well.
right? It does have the state constitutional right under Article 1, the police powers to not change this. We do not have an administration who does not wish to conform to past state laws.
Okay, that's a good.
There's a difference here. We have a home rule, we just choose not to. The reason they have to include it into the code is because otherwise the state could not enforce it.
Well, based
It
on
has to adopt it. That's
that, I withdraw my objection.
Okay. as I say, we're taking a position of opposed to it. Okay. But we don't object, you know, but we believe that the city has written the code to implement it. Yes. Correctly, so we don't see a flaw in the actual code.
There you go.
Right, that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
All right, it's just that we don't like what it does.
And we're gonna say, we don't like. it.
And we're gonna say up front that we don't like what it does, yes. Okay, all right, and then, we are gonna take, no action on 10, 101, 103, and 104. And those portions of 61, which apply to specific districts.
Go up to the top. I think is your best bet.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no comment.
And scroll a little bit further down.
Yeah.
And see where it is.
No comment. Geographic.
Right.
That's 10.
So David, do you want to explain the item, what we've done with the central urbanized district?
I don't have my notes in front of me. 9, I explained, that was self-storage. Some of them, repealed the chimney regulations in the planned district ordinance, for the area.
Yeah.
That would have been most pertinent if they had applied them to the, bonus ADU projects, but they specifically refused to enforce them for the bonus ADU projects, and then the year, in 2022, they repealed them from the bonus ADU projects. And then in the other context, it really does not make sense to have chimneys on the other kind of buildings that we built. And, I can't remember what 61 was, and I can't remember what 80 was.
Okay, so 61 was it was parking regulations, mobility choices, plan district.
One of those was they made the change generally citywide 2 years ago, and they forgot to update the PDO for the central urbanized district, and they're just catching up with that. That might be that one.
Yeah. I think that was a general cleanup of various PDOs.
That's just a housekeeping item.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we're okay with that. We don't have updated information on 12, 25, and 89, except that 89 is the appeals.
That was 85,
Or was
wasn't it?
that 85?
Yeah, 85. We'll go back to 85.
Yeah, we'll go back to 85.
I think what
I thought we were gonna get updated language on 1 or 2 of those.
So we don't have, I believe 12 is the multiple dwelling unit.
Yeah.
So we agreed with your recommendation. We don't have the revised language today, but we'll be reverting back to the original definition. We're just not gonna make the change. And as soon as we get the revised language up, we'll publish it.
Does that mean it will still be part of the 12th update? Just,
It'll be part of this update.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something, because those are the ones that we wanted to wait and what we mentioned, and these 3, 12, 25, and 89. If we still need information from you guys, that's where we're gonna table those 3 and bring them up in February. I know we'll miss planning commission, right?
Yeah.
But we won't miss land use and housing and city council. correct?
Yeah,
Right.
so we'll just amend our comment for the staff report for land use and housing based on February's meeting, assuming.
And do you have the revised language for 96, the signage assessed value?
We do not have language for that yet.
Do you know what direction you're going?
I do not know what direction we're going. We typically have, the applicant provide an appraisal of their sign or their property and use that, but I don't know yet. We don't know yet how we're gonna specifically address it.
Yeah, this is the assessment.
Okay.
Hey,
Eric?
Chris, did we roll up 30, our opposition on 30, because we didn't address the 30 here, the table. We have opposition on 30. Did we roll that up to 25?
Oh, yeah, I just noticed, yeah, we didn't have,
So
we had these, but we didn't, I
we
wrote down.
marked down on 30,
Yeah,
but we didn't get an answer back in 25 and the two are intertwined.
Right, yeah, this is the affordable housing unit.
Yeah.
We have not gotten.
So we're treating 25 and 30 together.
I think we
That was a
probably,
dependency there, I know.
yeah, I think the subcommittee was generally unhappy with the.
Yeah, we opposed
language
30, but
with
we
the-
were wishy-washy on 25 because we didn't have a hard definition on
so I think 25 is gonna be tabled.
it. Okay,
Right, so I think we'll stick with opposed on 30
yeah,
and,
Okay. we just didn't talk about it.
re-review for number 25.
Yes.
Yes.
Can I make a comment about 25? And Megan, correct me if I'm wrong, but 25 is solely changing how we define equivalent size. It's a clarification. So it says, if a protected dwelling unit is removed or something, then, and it's 2 bedrooms, the replacement unit has to be the same number of bedrooms. So that's the only change that's related to number 25. I think the one maybe you guys are talking about is 29.
30.
Yeah, 30.
Sorry, 30.
Why does rehab payments count as CCHS?
So you're saying under 25 rehab units were already an option?
They were already there. Everything stays the same. The only change is the size, the definition of equivalent.
So the issue here is that the bad idea of rehab unit being carted over to CCHS projects. And so I guess we might be at the point where we just say we just like the idea and the concept of the rehab unit because it doesn't create a net increase in affordable housing, as best as we can tell.
As best as we can tell.
Yeah, doesn't conform with the general tenets of CCHS.
Yeah.
But I still think it moves us to re-review 25.
Yeah, let's go ahead and
Yeah,
table 25, re-review it, have it part of February's meeting.
okay.
Will you have updated language for the assessed value at some point? Or are you gonna leave that as an undefined term? 496.
I think we're still working with VSD on that, since I think assessed value already exists in the land development code, and I think more conversations need to be with DSD on how if that assessed value needs to be touched or not in the definition section of the code. I think it's just better coordinating with DSD to get those conversations going.
Is that a conversation that's gonna happen quickly, or is that a conversation? So
It should happen soon. It should happen soon.
do you think
as-
it'll happen within the month?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, as you can see, we have like 139 items, so
Yeah.
there's some that are heavier than others, so we do have to prioritize. I'm not saying the assessed value is not a priority, but it is.
We understand it's
Yeah.
not the biggest lift here, but I thought maybe because it was an easier one, you might actually have it an answer quicker.
Sometimes we like to start with brainstorming ones, but it's best just to go with the heavier ones to get the hardest ones out the way first.
Okay.
Let's go back to,
corner.
oh, sorry, yes, ma'am.
So I can't emphasize enough how important it is for land development staff to get the draft language revisions onto their website as soon as possible. February is a few days away, and if you're trying still to make the planning commission date in February, you need to give the public time to read the revised code language. It cannot be acceptable for that language to be dropped into the agenda package for the planning commission, because it's impossible for the public then to get a chance to review it. So if you're hard on your schedule, I hate to put the stress on you, but we really need in the public to have access to that draft language that you are currently working on. And I appreciate whatever you do to get that up on the website. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Let's go back to 85, because we're gonna hopefully, we've talked about this a lot, and we've got some clarifications that we wanna make sure.
And
Not-
we haven't discussed 89 either.
Oh, and 89. Well, okay, which one's 89?
89 is the wireless facilities and we were.
So that might be a little faster, yeah.
Um, Victoria, we do have pictures, Marlon, I'm so sorry, but if you bring up my PowerPoint, it's the last 3 slides, I know you had asked for example.
Yeah,
pictures,
we
so,
did.
I just want to show, these are some examples with the various communities throughout the city, how number 89 would be applied. This is, and a clarification for 89, I know in the job code language, we see fiber optics development and wireless communication facilities. We are striking out wireless communication facilities, but this is only for fiber optic development, which is totally separate from wireless communication facilities.
And how does this work with the recommendations of the undergrounding advisory committee, which for the undergrounding program, which also creates boxes like
your house.
I'm not familiar with that, but I could definitely look into that.
You should look into that.
It's the underground committee.
The Utilities Undergrounding Committee of 2015 put out a set of recommendations on how to install boxes like this in neighborhoods. And you shouldn't be at odds with those recommendations, I would advise. And I can direct you to where you can find a copy of that report.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Can I offer the clarification?
Yeah.
You know, we talked to our specialist who regulates these. So these are kind of required boxes because of the undergrounding. We have to put them in the public right of way by state law. And so what this amendment, the goal of this amendment is to encourage smaller boxes. So smaller than 48-inch boxes can be permitted with a process 1. Larger than 48 inches can be permitted with a process 2 application, appealable to the city council. But, you know, our hands are a little bit tied because we have to locate these boxes somewhere, particularly if we're looking to underground facilities. And our goal with this is just to incentivize smaller boxes.
But that still strikes the wireless control facilities from.
Wireless control is regulated in a separate section.
Yeah.
Yes, but I just find these kinds of boxes here are very much in line with the boxes that the undergrounding committee worked on. And I know there are council members who are interested in this topic.
Okay.
Because
We'll
one of
coordinate
them,
with that.
yeah, because one of
And
them,
I think one of the concerns was by making any of them a process 1, there's no public notification at all. They just get to roll into the neighborhood, pop it in, and they're gone. So if it was a process 2, at least a public notification would go out. It wouldn't go before planning, but it would go out, and then people could then at least put in their comments.
Yeah, only if they're over 40 inches though. Yeah.
which is our concern.
Yeah, that's our concern.
Okay.
That's,
48 is quite big.
it's big, yeah, 48 by 48, we still think it's a big enough thing that the public should be able to have a comment if it is going in right in front of, you know, whatever, just
I mean, one of the
to public notice.
One of the concerns was that the boxes block the view of storefront windows that advertise their products. As one example, why this is an issue.
Right, so it at least keeps it out of the domain of the planning commission, which really doesn't want to hear these things.
Yeah.
And does at least satisfy the public notice.
Right.
Parking.
And it keeps it out of planning groups too. And then requiring to get, you know, our written, like, yes, we talked and they came and presented, you know, so.
But if we see a bad idea, we can comment on it.
But if it's publicly noted, at least the public gets a notice and we can go, wait, where is this, you know, so, and which, okay.
So we thought that was a reasonable request for this one, but it's still in kind of re-review mode here.
So let's keep that tabled and hopefully finish it. Vicky.
I just had a question about ADA compliance. Will that be assured these? Yeah, there are minimum sidewalk widths that we have to keep in mind and public health and safety first and foremost. They can't be in section. There's a lot of regulations around. Okay.
And I just want to say, on busy sidewalks, ADA room is not room enough.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So, now there are some items that we marked as potential discussion items. And we marked number 30. This has to do with the instructor
We've
recap.
touched on that.
Yeah, we did
Okay.
touch on 30. I think we can,
We
yeah.
did do that.
but 85 is the,
Okay, we got that one sorted. So I think we need to go on to 85.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this one is a bit of a, this has been a sensitive topic. This has to do with field fees for, it is correct, right?
yeah, it's the appeal fees that are, they're raising the price, the cost of the appeal fees from $1,000 to $2,000. So if there's a project, discretionary project, and you want to appeal a city
Yeah.
city council, whatever, if you want to appeal, you have to pay $1,000. So CPGs have to pay that $1,000. So everybody does, there's no waivers, but they're gonna increase it to 2,000.
To $2,000.
And we don't generally get into the money issue, except that this
Except that
affects.
this one affects the ability of planning groups to actually do appeals. So we consider this an exception because it involves our work. Vicky?
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. This is also really important for environmentally sensitive lands because of the way the code is currently written, where there is no public involvement in the initial decision of the city. So we would have to pay $2,000 to appeal it just to have a public hearing. And it's already bad at 1,000, but this just makes it 100 times worse.
Yeah, so there are, we had several suggestions. 1 free CPG appeal per year. Most CPGs don't file appeals.
Just because it's $1,000.
It's a-
Well, yeah,
When it
but,
was free. Yeah.
yeah.
But Choice Valley, they raise the money, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
it does happen,
Yeah.
and, and then the one thing that's a great example. If they won't do CPGs, one appeal a year for free, at least limit the amount in, communities that are the low CTCAC census tract. So, those that are in, I can't remember what it stands for, but
It's a low resource area.
low resource, that's what I was
Yeah,
looking
low
for. The low resource area, at least waive the fees for them. And there's a couple ways they can do this, but obviously we're gonna leave it up to them, but we have suggestions to do it according to, is the project in a low resource area or is the project in the CPG in the low resource area? So how do you define a low resource project or CPG that's evaluating that? But the point is, we really wanted to get to at least one free waiver a year. That's our desire. We've been told no. It's on here to raise it. So we're gonna object. And then we're also going to say, let's bring this back to the table if you could, or amend it. So,
yeah. So this is something we'd like to have at this, yeah, I'll get you a secretary. Yeah, this is something we'd like to get in front of the planning commission for sure. And make sure that there is a discussion about this. Now, they may just say, take a hike, but, and then we'll just try at each level of decision making. But we do.
Quick question. What about if we ask for on ministerial projects only that we get, not charged any fees? I mean,
Ministerial projects are ministerial.
Yeah, they've intentionally read it. So
Yeah, there's
no way to appeal.
there's no.
There's nothing, no decision publicly, so there's nothing to appeal,
appeal.
which is
All right.
ultimately the part of the problem.
Let me get to Doreen way in the back.
Yeah, Doreen.
Why don't you come up and get closer? So,
Yeah, and just so you guys know, we do have another agenda item I was hoping that we could get to. We may need to table it, but it would be, if we can move this along, because I think we're almost finished, right?
this is really the last.
So we're gonna want to, make a motion to close this out, knowing that we're gonna table some of these. But Doreen, go ahead.
I would like to first, did David leave? Well, I'd like to thank this just recognize that subcommittee was, I went to the majority of the
You
meeting.
did.
And that subcommittee was amazing. These people, Christmas, all the holidays. So I really want you all to know how hard they worked on all the holidays and appreciate it. When you're talking about that waiver, I'm not sure how many of the 42 to 52, depending who you believe, planning groups actually have neighborhood elements. Like, some people were saying they don't even have neighborhood names in their community plans. But like our community plan has a whole entire neighborhood element with the 6 communities, and the 6 communities are not all on the same census tract.
Yeah.
Some of them are low, some of them are moderate, so we're not all the same. So if you guys use that word CPG, then you have to decide versus maybe if you use the word neighborhood, but I don't know how many of you actually have legally binding neighborhoods
I
and a
think-
neighborhood element.
I think the point for tonight is that we want to bring up that this is something we want to attack again. You know, we want to get this back in front. We want to come up with these ideas and figure out what is the best detail that we can propose. But for tonight,
Okay.
we want to let you know, because we knew this is a topic that we all, you know, have strong feelings on, because we've seen it before. And so we wanted to let everybody know that we are outright opposing it because we don't think it should be increased. Generally, we don't, again, talk about funding, but because this affects us immediately.
Now, can you direct Marlon's your secretary, could you direct him to get a list of which community plans actually have neighborhood elements, if you get to come up with ideas, and which ones don't?
I can't direct him, but.
Okay.
One of the things that's been discussed is having to do with, low resource census tracts, which are pretty small. Okay, so that if projects are in low resource census tracts, there might be an avenue for a reduced or 0 fee appeal.
But I think for tonight, though.
For tonight.
We need to just make our statement about it and that
Yes.
we oppose it.
Right, but
And we will note that we want this, you know.
that we want this more fully discussed by the decision makers at their regularly scheduled review.
Can I
Okay,
just ask a question?
Sure.
Not to delay, the next.
Yeah, it's your item.
I'm wondering, why are you splitting the baby here? Why wouldn't it be what's good for one is good for all? All CPGs should be getting at least one free.
Yeah, that's what,
I
that,
mean, this is not.
no, that's what we're asking.
Right.
That's our original.
I was
ask,
hearing
but-
a lot of, not, and I have nothing against low resource areas, obviously, but
Yeah.
it
no,
just
the
seems to me that.
proposal is 1 free
Okay,
For everybody.
for everybody.
Yeah.
And then, but we realize that some areas, particularly low resource areas, are more prone to what might be considered developer abuse or something like that.
Considering what we've witnessed.
Considering what we've witnessed, and
Right.
so that these
Okay.
So
areas,
if they're gonna say no to it, will they at least consider another option? You know, so, but I agree, our first and
which,
is
I don't-
no fees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the strongest.
right,
Okay.
so that's what we're. proposing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you for the clarification.
this is a tricky element, we know everybody's got an opinion on it, but, that's what we've been.
May I just ask, why do you think the city has trying to double fee?
They're increasing fees across the board
Yeah.
everywhere.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
It was initially.
There's that.
Now it's a cost recovery.
Yeah, yeah, that's
okay,
good.
okay, so I think.
I think that's
I
it.
think that's it. I think we should not make the motion.
So, yeah, we're gonna be looking for a motion, basically to, support the CPC subcommittee's, decisions and what we've talked here tonight. If there's a specific items, the ones that I wrote down, that was a little bit questionable. Vicky was adding the VTM, which one is that?
102.
CMT.
One, VMT.
Yeah, that's 102, I think.
Okay, oh, here we go. And Vicky, if you were to describe what it is. Would that be to oppose or make an amendment to it?
I would oppose it
Oppose
because
it.
they're taking it out of the community when the community's getting to it. So I would oppose 102.
Okay,
Yeah, and that kind of matches, just my experience is that, yeah, if you get a buyout, that's the developer's usually gonna go for the buyout, which means
yeah,
the area of development it will go into general fund usually, and you won't, which will then be given to low resource areas, and you won't see anything.
yeah, the area won't recover anything. Okay.
Do you have a comment, Courtney? Oh, okay, sorry. Okay,
We're not gonna touch cannabis right now. We're gonna talk about that later. We're gonna still, we were still approving that one, okay. So based on what he has up there, what I'm looking at then is the only addition would be to oppose 102. If anybody else has any comments on that, does anybody think that we shouldn't oppose 102 as a CPC group? When it does affect certain areas, but it may,
I think it's a legitimate concern.
Yeah.
And, I think we could include that.
include that.
I move to accept the work of the subcommittee as amended with 102.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll also be tabling the other, which it's written in here that, or we will add it to it, that we are gonna table item 12, 25, and 89. Correct?
Yes, for next month.
For next month.
Yeah.
Can we ask that staff try to accelerate their pending answers so that we have that posted to their site?
As part of the motion?
Yes.
I second the motion as it is.
Second the motion as is. Okay, so,
Well, we're in discussion right now. I agree with the person over here that, it doesn't mean anything if we don't get a chance to see what the language is before the group meets. That's a reasonable request.
okay.
I'll accept the friendly amendment.
You accept a friendly amendment?
Yeah.
Okay,
I agree.
you agree on the second? Okay.
Can I ask, what was 102?
102 is the vehicle miles tax. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
VMT, travel. Tax. Okay, buyout option, okay. Okay, so, Jeff, your amendment, give me a clear statement of how I'm gonna write this into the motion.
I further, ask planning staff to please accelerate their pending outstanding revisions so that they can be posted to the side prior to the planning commission meeting.
Yeah, if they're gonna present those items to the planning commission.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's almost,
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if they're gonna present or not, if they update the draft language.
Okay, if they're gonna update the draft language.
yeah.
Are you giving it to me?
Yeah.
Hold the question.
Yes,
Okay,
Hold the question.
okay. All right, we have the motion to accept the subcommittee's findings with the amendment to add opposition to code 102. And with further requesting that the planning staff accelerate their update language so that we can evaluate it, the public can evaluate it in a timely manner.
And we're tabling.
And we are tabling 12,
89 for
25, and 89 for the February meeting. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and call the roll.
Did you get a second?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, North Park seconded. Yeah. Okay, this is item number 4. We're gonna start with Carmel Valley,
Yes.
Encanto.
Yeah.
College area,
Yes.
downtown,
Yes.
Kensington,
Yes.
La Jolla,
Yes.
Linda Vista,
Yes.
Mira Mesa,
Yes.
Mission Valley,
Yes.
Normal Heights,
Yes.
North Park,
Approved.
Ocean Beach,
Yes.
Otay Mesa,
Yes.
Pacific Beach,
Yes.
Peninsula,
Yes.
Rancho Bernardo,
Yes.
Rancho Penasquitos,
Yes.
Scripps Ranch, yes, Skyline, Guy,
Yes.
Southeastern,
Yeah.
Yes.
And from here on out, every planning group contact their state assembly member or state senator and have them, as soon as any legislation is introduced, to go into committee, be worked on, that's going to affect the land development in any municipality throughout the state of California, that they immediately
Okay.
contact
thank
the
you,
local
Guy,
planning committees
you,
and
Guy.
planning groups to get the real input,
Guy.
feet on the ground. I'm
Thank you.
serious.
I know you're
Our
serious.
history.
I know you're serious. Okay, I've just got two more. Torrey Pines
Yes.
University.
Yes.
Okay, that was unanimous. Thank you very much. The motion passes.
Good job, guys.
Good job, yeah. That gives us a little bit of time for the next agenda item. I think she can do it. We handed out, there's extra copies here. The next agenda item is a seat at the table. And if we don't get through it tonight, we can table it for February, but I think this is not too difficult. This is kind of like a feeling piece. Oh, yeah, do you have it, Paul? Do you have a letter? Did I send that to you in my email? To brief it up, I thought it, that's
Check.
okay. It's gonna say,
Yeah.
and then, oh, my letter should get to you. This is a working.
Question, are you looking for, what are we looking for this item? Did the board approve sending this letter?
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
so let me just give a really brief
Yeah.
overview. We had looked at this last month and we ran out of time. It was suggested by the chair at planning groups that we start looking at a recommendation to give planning groups equal time before decision-making bodies, and my ears really perked up when she started talking, because this is something that I had worked on with a prior colleague of ours, Howard Wayne, who's now deceased. But seat at the table, as Howard put it in his terms, was to address the inequalities that he and others, including myself, had experienced all too frequently during public comment periods before decision-making bodies. So we're talking about planning commission, the city council and its committees. So at the time that it was brought up, this was several years ago, we could be going back 5 or 6 years. The problem has only gotten worse, and I think we all recognize that. This is not just a growing concern, this is a sustained concern and frustration with the city on, excuse me?
No, it's
Okay, on, it's a sustained frustration with the city on, the public's ability to be heard. So the issue that we're not gonna see up there, but I'll talk about.
Oh, there it is. Well, is that the only one I sent? No, the one in the, no.
The issue is this lopsided approach to presentation. So typically, as we all know, we've shown up at these hearings where project applicants, developers, and other proponents of projects and proposals get a 15-minute or 10-minute chunk of time in order to make their presentations. They're given the use of PowerPoint. They actually have a seat near the decision-making body, and they have access to the decision-making body to the extent that they're actually engaging an inquiry and discussion between the decision makers and the project applicants. Meanwhile, the public is relegated to the position of a potted plant. We are allowed to speak typically from 1 to 3 minutes. This is at the discretion of the chair of the hearing. Sometimes it's 1 minute, sometimes 3 minutes. How many times have you been in a very contentious meeting where there's an agenda item where the room is crowded with 542 people and the chair decides, okay, you now get each a minute rather than the 3 minutes that you had potentially prepared for to get your concerns, opinions, and recommendations before the deciding body. So the other issue is that we have to corral community members to show up in order to get them to cede their time to us, whereas applicants, project applicants, developers don't have to do that. So there's obviously, and there's no inquiry and dialogue with the decision-making bodies, and I would suggest that if there is, it's extremely rare. This is like a check the box, let them speak, sit down and shut up, let's move on type of exercise. And we all know what that feels like. We've been through it. So the solution that we're proposing is a designated block of time for community representatives that provides equal time and access so that community representatives can get the valuable information out and the recommendations to the decision makers, whether it's council, members sitting in committee or the planning commissioners. We're proposing that neighborhood specific issues, the time is dedicated to CPGs, and then we're proposing for citywide issues that there's a dedication of time and access to the CPC chair. So this is a restructuring and a balancing out of the unequal equation that is typically seems like it's weighted towards applicants and deference is given to them and an intolerance of the public. So we're suggesting that these change in policy practices of the decision-making bodies will balance out the access, as I just noted, promote greater fairness, actually improve their decision-making, and it will encourage hopefully earlier collaboration between project applicants and the community, which, if successful, would have the effect of obviating the need for a community presentation in the first place. Because if successful, we would be in agreement and we would be on the same page. So there is a letter that was drafted that covers all of the points that I just.
What you have. This is what I just handed out. This is just the text of the letter. I don't have I've got the letter.
So here's draft. Yeah, this is the letter in draft right here, and it covers the points that she just handed out and I just highlighted for you in my 5-minute presentation. What I would like to do, and I have very specific motion language, but in order to kind of get this over the finish line tonight, I'd like to make a motion that the chair submit a letter to the city council, the city clerk, and DSD that describes the problem of imbalance at the public comment period, and that includes the policy change request for equal time and access for community members before the city council, its committees, and planning commission.
Second.
Yes, that's her motion.
I'll just insert demonstrated imbalance.
Okay, so I guess there was a second.
There's a motion.
Yes. Motion. Second.
Seconding the motion, okay.
Second motion.
So,
You
Felicity
had-
made the
you had
motion,
table.
Eric seconded it, now we can go ahead, David, please.
My brief comment is I was at planning commission about 3 months ago, and as I was listening to staff's presentation, not the applicant's, staff's presentation, I turned to the person next to me and said, they just gave an infomercial for the project. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
I heartily endorse
Can you add, to city council members?
This would be going to city council members. The process is, we spent a lot of time trying to figure out the direction here. City clerk deals with all open meeting, rules and regulations and all of that. So it'll be going to copy the city clerk. City council is responsible for, their rules, and then planning commission is gonna be DSD. We have to send it to DSD for planning commission. So city council would be city council plus any of their committees, like land use and housing. So it would fall underneath. So we're trying to make sure we hit every public open meeting.
That's all I make sure.
Yeah, thank you, Lynn. Any other, yes?
Don Thompson's comment in favor of this is, this provides an opportunity to reach out to the community and say, hey, you want community support, you gotta come in. We've lost too many presentations due to permit and everything else. I think they'll provide an opportunity to come back and see.
Yes, also mentioning, there's another letter or comment that I'm going to,
Yeah.
add that.
Okay, so this could either be a second motion or an amendment to my motion. I had drafted something very quick here for the chair to send out to individual CPCs, inviting them to review our letter, assuming it's approved. I'm getting the sense that we have some unanimity here. Could be wrong, but we'll see. But asking CPCs to review the letter, which would be attached to this, adopt it, and then forward their individual support for the letter and the proposal to their council representatives.
Right, so and I'll just tell you, all of the letters that I've been doing since I've been the chair, I get very few responses when it's going right to city council or to the mayor's office. Sometimes I get, hey, we got your letter, things. But I do have to kind of be a squeaky wheel in some cases to get responses. A good example is I was a squeaky wheel to Heidi over a couple things. And but the point on this is, because this is a unanimous thing that it affects all of us, why doesn't every single CPG send the same letter to their council members, their community reps, and then the same folks that we're gonna carbon copy? And that way you've got 41, if we could get everybody to do this, letters coming saying, this is how important this is. We're gonna take it out to the CPGs and make them do some work that we're doing as well. So that's the point of that.
So the question is this already an amendment to your motion?
So it can be full disclosure. This is what the letter that I would suggest the chair send. It is CPC's desire to advance more meaningful engagement with the city's decision makers and to correct the disparate treatment of community members who appear before them at public hearings. At its January 27, 2026 meeting, the CPC approved the attached letter to the city requesting that community representatives be granted equal time for cohesive presentations as is granted to project applicants, developers, and other components before the Planning Commission, City Council, and its communities. CPC encourages individual CPGs to review and move to adopt the CPC's proposal. Once adopted, CPGs may forward their individual support by form of letter to their council representative. That was my suggested draft and addition to the motion.
Okay.
Except the.
Except a friendly end.
Is there any public comment allowed on this item?
Yes, we've got, yeah, Paul. Yeah, go ahead, Paul. Is that Paul?
Thanks. Yeah, I think it is great for the communities to have more input. I just think my concern, and you've heard me voice this before, is that we currently have a much greater representation on our planning groups by, say, single-family homeowners or older folks like myself or wealthier folks. And I feel like, planning groups are advisory, right? And we're kind of giving them additional powers here, for lack of a better term. And if we do grant those powers by giving additional input, I'd really like to see this representation issue addressed. And, I'm still kind of waiting to hear of any data that the city asked for from the planning groups about greater representation, by renters and by the, to better match the demographics of the city. So that would be my request here. I would love to support this, but right now I think what you would see is maybe a doubling or tripling of single-family homeowners' voices. And I strongly believe they should have a voice. But we've just seen in our planning processes maybe an outsized voice by single-family homeowners, and I'm one of them. And I'd like to just see a wider variety of voices to address that greater fairness issue that was brought up earlier. So if there's any way to address that part, I would really like to see that happen. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, our time is very limited, so.
I have a quick comment. In terms of equality and public comments to the city, I believe that all voices need to be heard. We live in a representative government, and our CPGs are elected by the community. And our CPGs also have a mandate for diversity within their communities based on the public data on the makeup of that community. So the CPGs are striving towards equality and balance and being representative of their demographic.
Thank you, Paul. Okay. I'm hoping to make you the last one because we do have to call the.
I have to disagree with the public commenter. We struggle to get interest for people to join CPDs precisely because we have no power and influence. They don't see the point. If we actually get a seat at the table, we will be able to recruit more diversity and more membership and more competition within our ranks.
Thank you. All right. Are we ready to vote?
More than ready.
Thank you all. Does anybody need to rehear the motion and then friendly amendment? Okay, then we're just gonna go for the vote. All right? Starting with Carmel Valley. No. Encanto.
Yes.
College area.
Yes.
Downtown.
Yes.
Kensington.
Yes.
La Jolla.
Yes.
Linda Vista.
Yes.
Mira Mesa.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
there. Thank you. Mission Valley.
Yes.
Normal Heights.
Yes.
North Park.
Approved.
Ocean Beach.
Yes.
Otay Mesa.
Yes.
Pacific Beach.
Yes.
Peninsula.
Yes.
Rancho Bernardo.
Yes.
Rancho Penasquitos.
Yes.
Scripps Ranch, yes. Skyline. Guy.
Yes, yes, yes.
Southeastern.
Yes.
Torrey Pines
Yes.
and University.
Yes.
Okay, that also passes with the unanimous. Everybody. I'm gonna roll this quickly over to Marlon for any, quick staff report.
So we've got a draft bicycle network master plan out. It's an update to the existing one. I don't think I have the correct website here, but if you could just do the search field, bicycle master plan. There's a new survey that's out there and you can sign up for updates. And that survey period will be open from January 28th to February 26th.
That's good. I did that last plan. I liked it. Okay. Okay, I do not have any comments, and I hope nobody has comments. You've already said them, so I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn tonight's meeting.
Everyone can put the tables kind of similar to the ones at the back. We need 6, I guess, rows, and then just tables behind with the chairs, so we don't have to put them in the closet. Thanks.